All right, boys and girls, welcome back. Sam's Army, episode 2.230. We got a lot to talk about this week. We're going to start out with headlines, where we'll put a bow on the Bruce Arena situation. We'll talk about U.S. soccer, gambling, and, dare I say, positive news for Everton. Weekly what if. Argentina City. Let's leave it at that. Premier League, we got Spurs soaring, Chelsea crumbling, and beautiful Brighton. Around the world, the Champions League is back. Everybody get ready. We got a little preview of the group stage, and then stoppage time with Ivan Toney's best bets and everyone's favorite segment, GOAWs. And then stay tuned for a fun chat with Orange County striker Milan Ilaski, who is the reigning Golden Boot champion of the USLC and former roommate and teammate of Tommy's. So Tommy and I sat down to discuss with Milan his move, which was just announced, to the Danish club Nordsjælland. That's not so bad as far as pronunciation goes for me. Anyway, so it was fun chat. We get into some of the hijinks that those two got in together, and of course, his move to the Danish league. So that's a fun time. Now it is time to welcome in this week's panel of beauties. We'll start with Mikey Podcast, aka Mikey Fowler, who is back from becoming one with nature in Zion National Park out in Utah. So, Mikey, what was the highlight of the trip, and how many drugs were you on at the time?
It was a completely sober trip, I'll say that now. They have fantastic local beers, and I just had a few of those and indulged. It was a hiking trip, and the best part about it was not having any cell reception and or wireless internet access for 4 whole days. So I can get back and have texts like you being like, "You okay? Did you die? Something happened?"
I was a little worried. You're very good about responding to texts in a very timely manner, something I'm not so good at. So you did scare me. You scared me a little bit.
I only told like 10 people where I was going. So a lot of people did have that same "what the fuck's wrong with you" moment. So
all right. Well, I'm glad you're back and you're in one piece, and you've centered your chi and you're ready to get on with life and North London Daerby coming up soon. So we'll get into that before too long here. All right. Next up, we got one of our resident non-tweedles, Dalton Kemper, who deserves applause on a weekly basis for making sure the episodes are, somewhat presentable. But your question, Dalton, so this is something I've been wondering about for a little while. I'm glad we've finally got somebody who can maybe bring some light to the situation.
Oh boy,
you're a Liverpool fan. You're a Liverpool
fan,
right? Who do you see as your biggest rival right now?
Oh God, I think it's still United. I'd still go United 1, City 2. And then maybe those years, like it was more of a City thing, like maybe they were tied for first, but I think it's always been United 1, especially just the way it's gone recently. It feels so good. But yeah, I'd say it's probably United 1.
Okay. And Everton isn't even on the list.
Right. 3. Yeah. Okay. Everton, we're going to talk about them later, but like, I'm always like, yeah, Everton's Everton. They're fine. We'll play them twice a year. And then I kind of forget about them. And then we play them, they're dirt bags. And I'm like, I never want to see this team again. So it's vicious, but for the days of the Merseyside derbies, they are number 2, but for now, number 3.
Okay, fair enough. Listen, they're struggling to stay out of the championship. So I think that probably plays into it as well. All right, let's go to headlines. So we're going to start with Bruce Arena. I think last time we chatted, the news had come out that Bruce Arena had resigned. There was some rumors flying around about what exactly was going on. We still, to be fair, don't know everything, but what we do know is that whatever happened behind closed doors, Richie Williams is the assistant coach at the time, who was, has this long-standing relationship with Bruce Arena. He came forward with some allegations, and that's what got Arena fired. It really sounds like a lot of people have lost a lot of respect for Richie Williams, and they don't trust him because, the team came out. So everybody, all the fans are like, what's going on? What's going on? Then the team came out and said, what's going on? We're not going to play until you actually tell us what's going on. So we weren't the only ones that were in the dark with this whole situation. Mikey, as a Bostonian, any thoughts on what the situation, or the situation, other than it just sad how this season has devolved into whatever it is now?
It's sad, but it's it's definitely something that is a little bit more prevalent than you may think. And it seems that the Crafts and the ownership of the Revolution don't have the balls to stick with Bruce in the situation. So I look at it more as a disengaged or not wanting to face any heat ownership group who really hasn't shown an interest in caring about the franchise since it kind of started with the Gillette Stadium thing. So I will always err on the side of the players and a guy that seems to be well respected in Bruce Arena. So I'm going to go ahead and blame this one squarely on the ownership bending for the demands of what seems to be a very weak person.
Yeah, I don't know it sucks. It's just a terrible situation. I feel for the fans, that have been, New England fans, the ones that have stuck around, like they've been through a lot. And these last couple seasons, it's like the team is right there. It's right there. And now this just really feels, and I feel for the players as well, obviously, because they're the ones that ultimately, feel the brunt of this. And not to mention some of the assistant coaches who lost their jobs over, a situation that not necessarily directly involved them, at least as far as we know. So we'll move on. Big news out of U.S. soccer. And for once, it will not involve bitching about Greg Berhalter or another U.S. coach. So the Federation announced that they are essentially moving to Atlanta, where they will build a training facility and relocate the currently Chicago-based headquarters. Arthur Blank brought out his blank checkbook, essentially, and put $50 million, just a casual $50 million towards this effort. As somebody who, lives in Chicago and has for a long time, I'm kind of sad about, hearing that the U.S. soccer is moving, picking up. And I assume most, if not all of the people will be in Atlanta now, because, the rule was before that you had to live in Chicago. And yeah, it's kind of sad, but at the same time, I totally understand it. Chicago is cold, very, very cold for long stretches of the year. So to have the training facility and the headquarters together in a centrally located place, which is, warm for much of the year, I totally get it. So I'm sad and kind of disappointed, but I get it. Dalton, any thoughts? Any additional thoughts there?
Yeah, you don't want the Bears stink to rub off on anyone either. So I get that. No, but honestly, I think this move makes a ton of sense for, like you mentioned, weather is good. I think having the headquarters on the East Coast of the United States is good, as we have so many players in Europe now, makes that trip a lot easier coming back, especially if you're coming back in January, like you said, and they want the games to be around Chicago, like Minnesota in February, we'll say. I think it makes a lot more sense to just have it in Atlanta, makes the trip a lot easier. It's a booming city. I think it's going to be overall a really good change for the Federation. And just like out of curiosity for Chicago, did you ever really think about it being headquartered in Chicago? I'm genuinely don't know.
Sort of, just because a lot of the, I know some people that worked for US Soccer back in my heyday. I didn't have a heyday, but back when I was sort of playing soccer more seriously, I played with a bunch of people who worked there. So I've always been around people who worked there and knew about it and everything, but it is what it is. So it's sad, but understandable. Basically, I'm resigned to it at this point, basically. Yeah, leave it there. We'll go over to news out of England. So an English manager, this is a really weird story, by the way, an English manager working in the top 4 leagues of England. And that's all we know. So, it's going to be a little shady based on the intro there. So this person cannot be named for legal reasons. They are known as Manager A, according to legal filings. They admitted to gambling more than $1 million. But they have not been suspended. And this included some games, some soccer games that they were betting. So obviously, strange story. The situation only came to light to the FDA or FA and authorities anyway, last year, because manager A was accused and was being blackmailed. Excuse me, not accused. He was being blackmailed by two former players. And this is what sort of brought the whole thing to light. There's some mitigating circumstances here. Most of the bets were on horse racing. I don't know if that really changes it, but some of them were on soccer.
It's Big Sam, isn't it?
Right. I mean, it's sounding like it, isn't it?
Yeah, already.
But it's a terrible look because this manager is not being suspended at all. So they're not only, being granted anonymity, which I get can be complicated with like the legal system and everything, but they're also not being suspended, and they're not being suspended because they can't identify them. So it's a really strange situation. Mikey, you got any thoughts on this?
All we ask for is a little consistency. That's it. Once again, a baffling time decision, and it seems so sporadic with the amount of time these guys are getting. The Nottingham Forest player compared to Ivan Toney, despite having more breaches. Now this guy granted anonymity. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
It's wild.
There needs to be some blanket rule here, or else I'm going to lose my mind.
I know. It just, like, the fact that it was a coach, who basically got off scot-free. To be fair, the Nottingham Forest player or former player, they at least suspended his sentence. So he's not actually technically, he's not really going to serve a suspension unless he messes up again. But yeah, it's just, Ivan Toney's missing basically a whole season. And this guy's getting off scot-free. That doesn't smell right to me. Any last words there, Dalton?
Pretty much same thing. Just zero consistency. I don't understand. If they're betting like $1 million, though, this isn't some championship manager. They're like, you wouldn't think. You'd think they'd have to have some money in the account, unless they're getting it from other ways, like giving people information to bet on. But yeah, I don't know. It's like Mikey said, the consistency isn't there, and it's really frustrating and stupid.
You would think that they've at least done like a thorough investigation and gotten to the bottom of like whether they were involved with match fixing or anything like that. And if they didn't do that, then it's just the absolute ridiculous. But who knows? Who knows if we even find out who this manager is? I assume in this day and age, you find out everything, but I guess we'll see. Finally, perhaps some good news for Everton. So owner Farhad Moshiri agreed to sell the club to an American private equity firm, 777 Partners. This group also owns stakes in a whole bunch of clubs: Genoa in Italy, Vasco da Gama, Brazil, Hertha, Standard Liège, Red Star, Sevilla, and Melbourne Victory. So that, they're following the Red Bull / City Group / whatever, there's the way that modern soccer is these days, essentially. So I guess Dalton, but they're not your enemy, but they are your friendly rival. What do you think? Is this good news for Everton, or maybe have they, sold their soul to the American Satan and are destined to spend the rest of eternity in mid-table purgatory alongside Chelsea?
I think they would take mid-table purgatory right now. But I think it can't hurt. Like, they needed a change at the top, and the changes need to continue to come for that club. Like, as much as, like we said, they're a rival to Liverpool, I don't really want to see them go down to the Championship. I want to see them at least competitive, because I think it's good for the Premier League when they're competitive. Jury's out on if these owners will be good for them, because it's not like these owners manage, teams that are overachieving big time in other leagues, like the Brightons of the world and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting, I guess, to say the least. But they needed a change, and if this is the start of that, I'm happy for them.
That's fair enough. I think, we don't really know what 777 Partners is all about. What they're going to bring to the table. They are bringing money to the table, and immediately, which was absolutely necessary. It sounds like, I'm guessing that this private equity group got a pretty sweet deal, because it sounds like Moshiri basically was bent over a barrel at the time. Like, they injected quote unquote tens of millions, they being 777, they injected tens of millions in a loan deal immediately. So it sounds like Mashiri was having trouble keeping the lights on, let alone, that expensive construction project. So
they have to stay up this year because of that construction. Like they have to, or else who knows? Like even with the new ownership, they are going to face serious issues, and not to mention the financial fair play issues they're already under. So even if the owners want to come in and spin big, they're going to have a tough time doing so, unless they can talk to Bowley and figure it out.
That's what I was going to say, kind of in the Bowley realm. The one thing we know about Everton is that they spend money super wisely and definitely don't waste it in huge chunks on absolute scrubs. At least these tens of millions is going to go towards like half an Alex Iwobi.
I mean, to be fair, like Mashiri stunk. I mean, based on the performance, but he still spent his balls off.
They spent a lot of money.
They did. You did. Wasted, we can now say. Okay, let's move on. Weekly what if time. So shout out to Chris Vosler for this one. He submitted it on Instagram. Mike, you go first on this. What if Man City and Argentina played right now? Who wins?
Can I respectfully, without insulting your listeners, say that it would be a fucking bloodbath?
You think I mean it goes along with your
football is just like
they're just too good.
It's not. It's like watching. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like when all the there's just no it's not a real system sport. It's a very fluky individual moment, weird thing. It's a whole different beast, and I think City would be the best national team of all time right away. Quality wise.
All right. Dalton, you agree?
I totally agree. I was thinking in that same vein of you see it like a Pep team that has time to gel, it's exactly why when people say if Pep managed the US, like we'd be the best team in the world. It's like, well, Pep also has every day for months with these guys with Man City and can drill them into exactly what he wants. So the national team thing is a much different beast, like Mikey said. So I'm on Mikey's side here that I think Man City would easily handle Argentina without any real issues.
Now, what if I twisted it just a little bit and said that, Argentina had the same sort of practice schedule? They were all together, like, because I get it. Your point about, City playing together, living together, whatever, day after day after day, that's a good point. But what if Argentina was doing that?
So you're saying, could Enzo Fernandez and Rodrigo De Paul keep up with Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne? Is that the question?
Yeah, but basically.
Okay, that's still going to be a no from me.
With the nationalism, impetus and motivation behind them, which is different.
All right. I can see the passion, the El Passion.
There you go. There you go. But you're still sticking with City.
Oh, City kills them.
The passion doesn't stop Holland.
Okay.
Look at the passion on Rodrigo De Paul's face as he picks the ball up out of the net. It's 7-0.
Oh, all right. Speaking of passion, let's get to the Premier League because I actually have some passion and it's joyful. It's joyous. I'm happy. I'm a happy Premier League fan right now. This is weird. It is just a very different feeling. It's lasted for several weeks now. It's not just a new thing, but man, this week as a Spurs fan, like it went from we were playing Sheffield United, right? We were the better team. They were time wasting their balls off. And by the way, I'm ignoring my normal, strategy of asking you guys what game you think is most interesting. Because God damn it, I got to talk about this game. So we went down a goal. The Sheffield United's time wasting got even worse. Their goalkeeper he's a piece of work. Credit to him, by the way. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I'll get to his coach later talking about it, but it just felt like one of those games where I even said going into the game on last week's pod, I was like, we could lose this game. Like it's Tottenham. We're flying. Our schedule hasn't been that great. I don't know how good this team really is. We could lose this game. And then, of course, they scored that goal kind of out of nowhere. Sheffield United did. And I was like, God damn it. Here we go again. And then Richarlison, who hasn't done a whole lot on this in terms of packing the score sheet, comes on.
You want to talk about wasting money?
Scores. Hey, not yet. It's too early. It's too early on that.
He's not wasting money. That therapist is worth every cent.
Well, he's not wasting money. Tottenham did, but
not yet. God damn it. Because listen, this weekend alone, he almost made up for his, whatever, $60 million signing. Scored a goal late, then set up Kulusevski for a stoppage time winner, and all that angst and anger and frustration and just, obviously decades of disappointment. I'm not saying that they were all lifted off my shoulders, but man, that felt so good. It was just such a happy, joyous relief. I mean, this team, it's not about this result. It's just about the feeling that we, for the first time in who knows, years, feels like we're moving in the right direction. It feels like we're building something. No, we're not going to win a goddamn title. And are we top 4 material? We'll see. We'll probably learn a lot more about that this coming weekend. But it just feels like we're at least moving in the right direction. And that alone, combined with the fact that Ange plays, soccer in the sort of the philosophically, he has the right mentality for a Tottenham manager. It just feels right. I'm just happy. I know we're probably going to get our ass handed to us by Arsenal this weekend, and that'll suck royally, but at least I'll still wake up on Monday morning and be like, well, we're still moving in the right direction. So at least I had that going for me. And now Mikey's going to try and ruin it by cutting me down, ruining it, ruining my vibes.
How do you not see it coming by now, Sam? I'm here to agree with you. I think you guys are fantastic. And honestly, this is the highest I've felt about your squad in years. When there's Kane, there felt like there was a ceiling. With him removed, I feel like it's gone. And honestly, with the momentum and with Arsenal playing midweek, this does have Spurs money line written all over it. Honestly,
the reverse jinx is so hard right now. Mikey. The reverse jinx is so hard.
I just forgot that this is the Mikey we were going to get.
Somebody needs to cut together all of the times that this has happened.
So many times recently, though, you've been actually not, your normal reverse jinx self. You've been, honest and sort of sometimes you even say Arsenal's going to win. But no, not North London Daerby week. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was expecting. This was on me.
Soccer hanging out. Maybe this is this rivalry has ended. Maybe we're friends now. I can root for Big Ange.
Oh, we'll get to North London Daerby. I'll get to that in a little bit. I'm just happy right now, and it felt so good. And honestly, it still might not be the most interesting result of the weekend. So I'll ask you, Telton, which game did you actually find most interesting?
Oh, for me, it has to be Brighton United. It has to be that. I have been saying this, I think, since 4 games into Ten Hag's reign as United's manager. I don't think he's that good. I still don't think he's a good manager. I think they brought an adult into the room when they needed an adult in the room. And now he's just kind of an authoritarian asshole where you're calling players out publicly and then reprimanding them for responding to you calling them out publicly. You're suspending players left and right, not only for that, but other off the field things. Your team, if you watch the beautiful buildup of Brighton's goal on Saturday, the effort, it was great buildup by Brighton, but the effort by the United players is disgusting. I think Pep would have taken them all off the field in the exact moment and reamed them all out and somehow substituted all 10 of them because it was so gross. I'd be so mad if I was a United fan about all that. Brighton, first of all, really good. So have to give them their flowers. But United, that is just disgusting. What Brighton not only did to you, but did to you at Old Trafford. You should probably be pretty pissed off, which I know a lot of United fans are.
Yeah, fair. I mean, listen, obviously things aren't going well for Manchester United at the moment. Everybody's getting suspended. There's the PR, the vibes are terrible. Obviously, I'm not going to blame Ten Hag for some of those suspensions. By the way,
some of that, not at all. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing that I have not heard talked about, maybe it has been, but the fact that there was one of the sexual assault or sexual battery or whatever allegations was 3 months before Anthony was sold to Manchester United. Is it possible that Ajax did not know that? Because it feels like to me Ajax may have sort of not disclosed something, and I don't know, that is obviously sort of a side issue, but it's one that I have not really heard discussed, and one that I don't know, feels a little weird, because Manchester United allegedly did all their homework on Anthony, and obviously you question that, but yeah, for Ajax not to know about an allegation of that nature, that just to me is weird.
Just to hammer it home one little bit
it.
more on Ten Hag is, and United in general, is him complaining about money after losing to Brighton, after they just sold Caicedo, McAllister, have sold Basuma, Trossard, all these players, complaining about money when you've got basically all the players you've wanted to get these last two transfer windows. Cry me a river. Like, I don't care. And I know that's just kind of the manager thing to do now, is to be like, well, we can't compete if we don't spend more money because you want to put pressure on the board, but not the team to do it against.
I'm not out on Ten Hag quite yet. Like, I think that he had a really tough job when he came in. And as you said, maybe it was just being an adult in the room that alone might move things in the right direction. But I'm not out on him totally. The Jadon Sancho situation, I think he's mishandled greatly. And that's on him. But I do think that he was dealt a tough hand. I'm not one that he didn't know about, except for when it comes to like Mason Greenwood and, now the Anthony, but he was dealt a tough hand, and I think he's still getting out from underneath a lot of this, the dead wood that was on that roster. I'm not out on him quite yet. Mikey, what are your thoughts? Was it Brighton good or United good? Bad.
Long may Ten Hag reign. This is quite a joyous time. It is calamity. I mean, you want to talk about lack of consistency. There is just no standard to which Erik Ten Hag will not stoop to keep Jadon Sancho off the field. There's a lot going on here, and I think the United background check stuff's starting to get hammered out by, you see guys like Goldbridge and shit tweeting about how is it possible we didn't know that, which I think is a really, really, really big deal.
Yeah, I think it is. Also, how did Ajax not let you know that was going on?
Big deal. If it somehow frees United of that Anthony contract, I'm going to be furious. But no, they are really truly as bad as everyone makes them out to be, and they deserve nothing, and to get Dærby right in their face. I have a question about Brighton. Two things about Brighton I want to point out without letting it pass. Tariq Lamptey goes on these stretches where he'll disappear for months on end, and you're like, I swear I saw the best English left back like a year ago, and now he's not playing. And then he'll come and have a performance like that for 90 minutes, just owning an entire half of the pitch in Old Trafford, which was really incredible to see. So shout out to him, and I hope he continues to shine. Pretty cool at having him at that left back position now. Brighton's playing that hybrid right back, center defensive mid role that we've seen City and Arsenal be the only other two teams to play. And also, I just can't stop thinking about Danny Welbeck keeping a place over Evan Ferguson and leading a technically sound Brighton attack. It's pretty incredible, honestly, and I don't think it's talked about enough that he is a regular starter on a top half Premier League team still. So
and
cool.
Scoring a goal against his former club.
He's like playing well. Yeah, he's calm. It's a really, really good thing to see, and just him doing it against United was under discussed, and it gave me a twinkle.
Is that Dærby's greatest accomplishment?
walking a Danny Welbeck led team back in Old Trafford. Yeah, that's
exactly.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, Brighton they're good. Like, they are. How can they be so
They've
good?
got a whole crop too below. If you play like Football Manager or anything, there's guys that you haven't heard of yet that are monsters on that Brighton roster out on loan places. They're going to be disgusting for years and years and years.
Wait until you see are they in Conference League this year? Is it them?
Let me check.
I think they are. If they are, wait until you see the Conference League squads they put out. You are going to see some names that are going to sell for 110 million in like a year and a half.
Europa.
Europa. Yeah. So yeah, they have some guys they're gonna name in those squads that nobody's gonna know now, and it's gonna be like, it's just another 110 mil that Chelsea buys like next summer.
They're in quite a good Europa League group with Ajax and Marseille. That's fun.
Mm-hmm. We'll get to, we're probably not going to get too deep into Europe. We just don't have that much time. But yes, we'll get to Europe soon enough. And by the way, Larry was always the big Tariq Lamptey guy. So
I know, yeah.
Got to
brought him back. Have fantasy, that clown.
All right. Any other games you want to call out, Mikey?
I mean, the most unremarkable Arsenal game that I've ever witnessed in my life. I mean, can we give Chelsea another minute just to point and laugh? That's worth it.
So bad, and they can't score goals. Like, how are you that bad and you can't score? I just feel bad for Pochettino, to be honest.
I really don't. And then no, that's really the only major shouts from this week. Nothing else deserves a mention. Everything went chalk.
The one game that stood out was Villa Palace. Villa scored 3 goals after, I think, the 87th minute.
87, 90.
That Duran goal, Duran, goal. Oh, disgusting.
Chicago Fire.
I was going to say Chicago Fire proud right there.
Taught him everything he knows. Anything else? West Ham going up on City early. I was like, could they do it? Because on the podcast last week, I was like, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that West Ham's going to win this game. I'm just, maybe it's a little upset alert.
Very funny. It's a very funny one-trick pony that they're running week in and week out there. It's the exact same game. It's pretty
that no one can figure out.
I know.
Besides City.
It's because it's a dead ball thing. Like, you can't really plan for it.
Newcastle got a win. Shout out to them. It had been a while. Fulham, Liverpool, a lot of chalk on the week. Okay, let's go to, we'll do this quickly. Quick power rankings. Mikey, you give us the first one here.
Wow, putting me on the spot here. So it's City, then I think it's Liverpool, and then I go right now I'm going to put Tottenham ahead of Arsenal.
God, why did I even ask you? Ridiculousness. Dalton, what do you
got? City, Liverpool, City, Liverpool, Brighton, Tottenham.
Wow. You guys, are you freaking reverse jinxing me too?
No, I'm not just saying this because Mikey's here. I have not been super impressed with an Arsenal performance this year. So this is just kind of my way of sneaking that in there. Especially watching them on Sunday. I know Everton's a tough place to go, but I wasn't very, very convinced by that.
You have, Mikey, sort of, I don't know if sleepwalked your way through a lot of wins is the right way to do it. I mean, you look decent against United, but of course, who doesn't look good against United?
When we're emotionally celebrating winners, y'all say we're too into it. When we're controlling matches and winning on XG, you guys say we're sleepwalking.
The field tilt. Did you see that? Have you seen this on Twitter? Everyone's talking about the field tilt. Congratulations.
Also, the fucking we don't have enough time for me to go into the 20 seconds before the corner was taken thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just forcing a narrative to it's less than the average time a corner was taken last season. It's like 30 something seconds. So not only does it mean nothing at all, it was also a 0-0 game against Everton. So what is the implication here? I just want to fucking mute everything sometimes. I'm done on Twitter during matches now. If you haven't noticed, I really can't. I'm
very rarely on Twitter these days too. It's just, I don't know.
I'm all over Twitter all the time, but during matches,
God bless you. I don't know how you do it. I said I was going to have some words about Sheffield United's coach. I'm going to wait for the GOAWs on that. So I'll give you the quick power rankings, the actual power rankings. None of this nonsense you guys are throwing out. City 1, Liverpool 2, Brighton 3, Arsenal 4. Anybody who puts Arsenal below Tottenham is just reverse jinxing, or I don't know what Dalton, what your game is.
I like Tottenham a lot. I like them a lot.
We'll find out this weekend what Tottenham is really all about. We'll see. Quickly on the bottom. I mean, we can go through this quickly. It's kind of tough to tell exactly who stinks the worst, but I'm gonna say Luton bottom, Sheffield United right above them. Not much. Their time. I understand in the Premier League, you just got to do what you got to do. Time wasting was really evident and really frustrating this week as a Tottenham fan. And then I'm going to put Everton at 18. I think that they're better than that, but they are not playing better than that. I don't know. I can't. Any big disagreements there? Either one of you?
Those are my three.
It's my three as well. I just listen, Luton is really bad. I've said this from the beginning. I think I want to bet them now for the under 11 points. I want to continue to insult Wolves to their face. I just think they stink. So I'm not going to slip them in, but they deserve a shout out in this section just because. I really
So does Chelsea.
Wolves can look like better than decent. Like they've got players that you're like, okay, well this team is not going down.
My God. Pedro Neto running at Joe Gomez was like watching, I swear, Vinicius running down the wing against some terrible La Liga team. Neto is good, but Joe Gomez made him look like a Ballon d'Or nominee.
That's fair. There's good and bad there. All right, we'll move on to power rankings. Give a quick preview of the weekend. North London Daerby obviously is what everybody, well, not everybody, but it's the high profile matchup for the weekend. As I said, this is when we find, I think we know what Arsenal is all about, even though I don't think they've been playing that well so far this season. Listen, you guys are a good team, and Tottenham, I just don't know. Mikey can try and reverse jinx the hell out of this all he wants. But Tottenham, listen, our schedule has been soft. I know that a lot of our games been on the road, but the opponents we've played, the best one being, maybe United. I don't know, arguable on that. But we just have not played a very tough schedule. We've found ways to win most of the games, which, is a credit to Ange and sort of the players coming together and everything like that. But we're going to Arsenal, I believe, right? Yeah. This is at the library. So this is going to be a tough game. This is no reverse jinx. I do not think that we win this game. I do not think that we come away from this with points. I think we lose. I think we'll keep it close, but I just think that Arsenal is a better team, and this will be by far, I would say, our hardest test so far this season. We didn't exactly pass the Sheffield United test at home with flying colors. So I think that this is probably going to be a frustrating, annoying loss, but close loss. I don't even want to know what Mikey thinks, because we already know he's going to say Spurs are going to win and you should take Spurs money line.
Oh, I actually don't think that at all. Arsenal will have a lot of the ball. They will have a lot of the chances. And I think it's going to be a frustrating evening. The spirit feels right with the Tottenham side. They have a midweek break and can focus on this all week.
That is true. That is true. You guys are playing your first Champions League game in a decade.
Yeah, it's not the Champions League games that you're worried about your first time in a while. It's the ones right after. So this has everything written for a 1-1 draw or 2-2 or something that leaves me disappointed, albeit not losing, and you being able to run your mouth for another 6 weeks.
I'll find a way to run my mouth either way, but you're right. Yeah, I will run it a little extra if we somehow get a result. I don't think we will. Your Champions League game, while not having to play Sunday then Wednesday is never good. It's never fun, but they're both at home. So, Wednesday and Sunday,
no March.
What's that? No
Martinelli for either.
Dalton, what game outside of the North London Daerby are you looking at?
First of all, I want to talk with whoever scheduled the games this weekend and didn't put Arsenal Tottenham as the standalone late Sunday morning. That is a ridiculous decision that they should have to answer for. And I guess if I Liverpool West Ham is going to be interesting just because that game is set up for a West Ham Anfield upset. Maybe I'm doing my own reverse jinx now where
Doesn't even know anymore.
yeah, West Ham is they're just set up. I've seen it so many times under David Moyes. They just know what to do against Liverpool, and it hurts and it sucks. Like I've seen Jared Bowen on the counter enough times to know what he's gonna do on Sunday. But honestly, I would probably go Chelsea Aston Villa if I had to pick one. All three at the same time, by the way, on Sunday, which is a crime. But if I don't know, I would be so down as a Chelsea fan right now because not only because of their upcoming schedule, but I don't know what makes this team better. Because it's not like you go, we just need to sign more players. We need this position and this position because they tried that. It's not working. You try bringing in a proven manager. It's not working. I don't know what does it for Chelsea at this point, if anything. So I'm super interested in that game. Aston Villa, the 2 times they've got their breaks beat off this year have been on the road. So if they can actually go into Chelsea and win, Chelsea might be worse than we thought. So that's one that I'm super intrigued by.
That's fair. I mean, listen, Chelsea haven't shown that they can score a goal. So, we'll see exactly. Well, we won't see exactly what Chelsea is unless they can actually come up. If they come up with a win here, I mean, that would be big. Aston Villa is no slouch. Chelsea and Manchester United are just must watch because people like train wrecks at this point. So, Manchester United headed to Burnley. Burnley obviously has not started the season the way that a lot of people, myself included, thought they were going to. But, no better slump buster than Manchester United coming to town. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it there. Other games, Manchester City welcoming Matt Turner and Nottingham Forest. Hopefully our boy can stand on his head. He'll probably have to, unfortunately. Now let's move to rest around the world, where we will focus on Champions League. The Champions League is back, and by the way, this is the last year of the group stage as we know it. We're going to the, what do they call it? The Swiss style or whatever.
Yeah.
Style.
Swiss
model. So we're just going to have one big ass table and everybody's going to be all mixed together playing God knows who. It's going to be complicated. I read a story on The Athletic that at least sort of got me semi interested in the Swiss model. They were talking about how the group stages has gotten, it's gotten a little stale, and the big teams end up sort of winning more times than not, as you would expect. But if you watch sort of the first ranked team, the second ranked team, third and fourth, and sort of how many points they've gotten in the group stage, it has sort of separated. So there's something to be said for UEFA trying to switch things up and freshen it, and hopefully it'll bring a little more excitement, I guess, to the group
and
stage.
more money.
And of course, more money. I mean, let's be honest. That's the reason they're doing it. There's nothing to do with refreshing anything. So before we get to some of the games that stand out, Dalton, which group is most interesting to you? I mean, a lot of people talk about the group of death, but that's not always the most interesting group. So what group are you most sort of intrigued by?
I am super intrigued by the Braga, Real Madrid, Napoli, and Union Berlin group. It's Union Berlin's first time ever in the Champions League. They've looked pretty good in the Bundesliga so far, bar the last couple weekends, but they started very well. Napoli, can they continue what they did last year? Real Madrid, certainly going to Real Madrid, right? Like with what they've been doing, but I don't know. I could see a shock in that group. Not that I think Real Madrid's not going to make it out, but I think Union Berlin could finish second in that group and knock Napoli either down to Europa or out. So that one's I'm keeping a close eye on for sure.
All right, Mikey, what do you think?
So I am a big Union Berlin fan in that group particularly. I think the most even group could be Group D, one of those shuffle it up and let them go, and I don't know who's going to win it groups. So I'm inclined to say that. So yeah, I think that's going to be my answer. I really like Group D. I like the contrasting styles of Inter and Sociedad is interesting. I think those are two completely opposite teams, and then young clubs with talent that will be snatched up for a lot of money soon in Benfica and Salzburg. So Group D is the nerd group officially of the Champions League this year.
All right, fair enough. I'll throw out Group F, which a lot of people would call the group of death. But anytime you get PSG, Dortmund, AC Milan, and Newcastle together, I mean, there's a lot of firepower there. So it's
I actually feel the complete opposite way and think Milan, Newcastle are some of the more boring teams to watch in the world. So not intrigued by either of those clubs. And
ooh, that was a spicy take.
I'm starting my Newcastle campaign. I cannot stand the way they play.
I don't know if I can say that
Jason
about Milan.
Tyndall can shush his way out of town.
We're all on the same page there with Jason Tyndall, but I feel like that was a little harsh on AC Milan there. I feel like
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they got smoked by Inter, obviously, but even losing 5-1 can be exciting sometimes. Okay, what games this week, match day 1? What game or games, Mikey, are you most sort of focused on or interested in or excited about?
The most exciting game is the PSG Dortmund game. I think that's going to be really, really fun. Just because I really don't know what this PSG team looks like. And Dortmund is known to give up a few. Plus, these two teams play each other every year in the Champions League. So I think that's interesting. And then I'm not going to steal somebody else's, so I'll let somebody else give me the Wednesday one. Sorry. Because that is obviously going to be a bloodbath of the century. I hope somebody talks about it.
I assume you're talking about Bayern just beating the bejesus out of Manchester United, but I'll wait for Dalton to go first.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bayern Man U. I have to. That one, Harry Kane's gonna feel so good. He's gonna be so happy, and you're gonna love it, Sam. You're gonna see Harry Kane like scoring a hat trick, smiling, being so happy out there. That one has the potential to get ugly quick. But yeah, I don't see any way United do anything in that game. So I'm going Bayern and United because, like you said, you got to watch the train wreck.
I think that's fair. I think if they get to 10-0, they may have, exercised some demons from the 1999 Champions League final. Yeah. And just Bayern is the club. I know that, managers come and go. I know players come and go, but just Bayern, their DNA, they do not they don't stop. They don't take their foot off the gas. Like they could score double digits on this Manchester United team, I think. So yeah, I mean, as we said, train wrecks are always fun. And if
is Bayern's current streak of like not losing a group stage game in like 3 years still alive? I think it still is, or even drawing. I know they roll through Champions League group stages like it's nothing.
Always. I can't. I'm trying to think back to.
I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, I would be surprised if it's not still going. Other games, AC Milan and Newcastle. I'm going to throw it as being I'm going to watch, but yeah, it's not going to be. It's going to be like the antithesis of the PSG Dortmund game, as Mikey pointed out. Arsenal PSV. I think that's going to be an interesting game on Wednesday. I don't know if we can get
learn who Noah Lang is.
A straight answer out of Mikey for what he actually expects out of that game. But I think that should be a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys, just go balls to the wall, score a bunch of goals, maybe, get a little tired. I wouldn't mind that very much.
The PSV wingers, Bakayoko and Lang, are filthy. Just so you know, I think they get out of this group.
Yeah.
I mean, Lens is not the same team I rooted for last year. They lost me $1 million against Mets over the weekend. Getting out shooting the other opponent 31-2 and losing 1-0.
It's a FIFA scoreline.
Unfortunately, I was the same. I lost money on that game too.
So Lens can suck mine. Sevilla, I've had grudge against since last year because I think they're old and play chippy bullshit brand. So I like PSV to get out of this group, but I actually think they're going to play Arsenal really well. They're not scared at all. They beat us last year. So really not like I wouldn't be shocked if Arsenal don't take 6 points from PSV over the 2 legs. I just don't know how that's going to break up.
PSV is, we got Americans galore there. So, I'll I'll be rooting for them in all different sort of ways.
Really worried about this week. Really worried about it.
Yeah. Okay. At home.
Both of them. I'm worried.
All right. Okay. Obviously there's these match days, like when everybody's still alive, when everybody's still playing, these are the match days that like are just so much fun. Like it's just, there's so much good soccer on, work schmirk. Just don't worry about work for
It's like it's like March Madness.
It really is. But it lasts longer, right? We at least got,
exactly.
at least 3 match days, which is Tuesday and Wednesday of each match day, to before things start to get real serious. And some clubs have been basically mathematically eliminated, or if not mathematically, at least they've sort of had their spirit broken. So these first few weeks, man, Champions League is awesome. But thankfully we get to refresh it in the name of money. So we'll get to that later. Anyway, we'll move on to stoppage time now. So best bets. I did as I always do. As soon as I start getting hot on the best bets, I get a little over my skis and I give out a little bit too many picks. This time, at least it worked out okay. I gave up 5 picks. That's too much. That's just too much. I'm getting greedy here. I did win 3 out of the 5, so we'll call it a modest win. But I'll admit, I got a little too excited. I'm going to rein it back in a little bit this week, but I'm not going to go first. I'm going to let you guys, sort of lead us off. Dalton, do you want to throw out some winner or winners for the people?
Yeah, I know that this is the over podcast, but I do love the Milan Newcastle under. We talked about the game a little bit, but that game has 1-0 or 0-0 written all over it. Neither team is going to want to drop points this early in that group. They're going to want every bit that they can. So I like the under in that game.
And just to add on to that, by the way, so both these teams are not exactly coming in flying.
Right, that too.
Like I think Newcastle's lost 3 of 4. AC Milan just got spanked 5-1 by Inter. So yeah, 0-0. I could absolutely just go like a perfect score line 0-0. I don't know what the odds are. They're probably pretty tasty. Okay, what else you got?
And then my beloved St. Louis City beating LAFC in midweek MLS games on Wednesday night. So that one's a top of the West matchup. St. Louis at home with friend of the pod, Tim Parker. Very good at home. Fortress that is City Park. So I think St. Louis City is going to beat LAFC.
Okay. I'm going to add that shoot. Because that's got overwritten all over it. That's got
it does. Absolutely. I left that for you. I left that part for you.
No, but then if I add that, then I'm giving out 4 picks. I just said I was gonna rein it in a little bit. And now I'm just too excited all over again. All right, well, I'll think about it. I'll debate back and forth. Mikey, what do you got for us?
An odd one, but you're gonna get odds above 100 for each of these. Pick whichever one you want. Go anytime goal scorer or anytime assist, whatever you feel pretty. The only 2 I feel comfortable about giving out are Xavi Simons against Young Boys and Benjamin Sesko. Those 2 I will bet for on Leipzig to score or assist, whatever I'm feeling, for the rest of the year. I enjoy Benjamin Sesko and Xavi so much. So much. So enjoy that. They're going to fucking kill him. So do whatever you want. That team has goal scores all over it. Openda, Forsberg is a great bet. Sometimes his odds are probably like plus 500-600. They're going to score a lot of goals, that Leipzig team, in this knockout stage or this group stage. A lot.
All right. Okay. I will. So now I just talked all that stuff about me reining it in. I'm now basically Dalton tricked me, and you reminded me of St. Louis LAFC, which is, you got to include that. If you're going to do overs, you have to include that. So then I would have games on Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so leaving a gap on Thursday, that just doesn't feel right. So now I'm forced to give out 5 winners again. So we're going to give out 5 winners, all overs, of course. We'll start on Wednesday with St. Louis LAFC. Boom, easy win. Thursday, we're going to go to the Conference League where Legia Warsaw is hosting Aston Villa. I know Villa can score, and I know Warsaw will get some goals against Villa, who's on the road, and they always give up goals. So I've got Legia Warsaw, and Aston Villa. Back to my pronunciation problems. Friday, we got Stuttgart and Darmstadt. And listen, Stuttgart might score 8 in that game. So that's got over. Saturday, we're going to go to the Swedish league, where Degerfors is hosting Malmo. Absolute goal fest. And then Sunday, listen, I love League MX. We're going with Toluca and America. America almost never lets me down in the over category. So there it is. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I just said I was going to give out, less picks. I gave out 5. So I absolutely lied. I apologize. But hopefully we will continue at least on the more wins than losses train. Now let's finish it up. Let's finish up with GOAWs. Mikey, listen, Mikey's got to go first because he's had this guy. He told me, because he would have been on my list, but you did call dibs. You called it early, so I'll let you have it. And by the way, did you see the update on this story from today?
Oh, can you provide the update when I'm done?
Yeah, I will. I'll provide it for you.
Please do. Montreal midfielder Matko Milijevic, 22 years old, was frustrated with his lack of playing time, so he signed up for a local Montreal amateur league under a fake name and was banned after 3 matches permanently for punching another player in the face. And if that's not Yoga Bonito, I don't know what is.
I mean, listen, the guy just wanted to get out there and play some soccer. He wasn't getting any time for Montreal, despite being, a big name signing for them.
This is a man who would spend his days burning down random buildings in the city, if not for his ability to slide tackle and or get in physical altercations on the pitch. We clearly see what happens when he's not playing. I think it should be court ordered and mandated that he remains on a team or a pitch at all times, because when he's not playing, things start to boil over.
Well, the addendum to this story is it's going to be bad news for you, Mikey, because MLS, after an investigation that found that he engaged in conduct detrimental to the league, has terminated his contract. So he's gone.
Well, yeah, dude.
So he's out. I just want to make it official. It was a new update.
I'm officially going to put a call out to Matko to move to New York, find a job that can keep you in the city of Manhattan, and you can play on my Wednesday night.
He's got an open invite. The Bowery Bridge League or whatever the hell that league is. Okay. All right.
Right in with these hotheads, to be honest with you.
I've heard stories. Not about you though. You must be an angel out there.
I am an angel out there.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, Dalton, who you got? Who's your goal this week?
I'm gonna go with not a good Goa in my mind. Some people might actually think this is a good Goa, so it can go whatever way you want it to. I'm gonna go Manchester City's social media marketing team that announced Kyle Walker's extension using the Wolf of Wall Street famous video of "I'm not leaving, I'm not fucking leaving," that Leonardo DiCaprio does.
You hated
Call me
it.
Call me old-fashioned. I did. I think a lot of these teams are trying way too hard to be funny and hip. I think call me old-fashioned. Either show me a picture of the guy signing the paper or holding the jersey up. I will laugh at some of Burnley's because they are actually creative, but this might be more just a shot at like a session of why my deep hatred of Man City comes out. But yeah, I didn't like it. I think it's useless, and I think it's like that one was so forced and so bad. So yeah, Manchester City for that. Some people liked it, so if you liked it, it can be your good Goa. For me, it's my bad Goa.
Fair enough. I know that seemed to. It was a polarizing one. I saw a lot of people be like, "This is terrible." Although I will say, it was weird how many of the people who thought it was completely lame were either Liverpool or Manchester United fans. I'm just going to point that out.
Maybe there's a reason for that.
Right.
Maybe
so
there's a reason.
Serious correlation there. I thought it was well done. Was it a little forced? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But I thought Kyle Walker did a decent job as he's a soccer player. He's not an actor. So
After all that bullshit, Kyle Walker and Bernardo Silva both just walk into 5-year deals.
Walker did.
Yeah.
Was it 5 years?
Yeah.
Or I don't know. They both just after all this fucking we're leaving stuff. He's just back again.
That they didn't say that. That's just the rumor mill and everything else. Like that's not on them. Although I did think Bernardo Silva was leaving. Okay, who's okay? So Mikey did his Matco guy that he's been sitting on all week. You did. I mean, listen, if you hadn't grabbed it, I absolutely would have included it. So I got a couple of them here. Some honorable mentions. Paul Heckingbottom, as I mentioned at the top or earlier anyway, he's the manager of Sheffield United. So listen, the team came out and were time wasting their balls off. It was so frustrating to watch. But I understand how teams or why some teams have to do that. I get it. But then to come out after the game, as Heckingbottom did, and blame the referees and saying the referees somehow like, screwed you by like saying you needed to play different or faster or whatever. No, absolutely not. The refs let you get away with murder, relatively speaking, when we're talking about time wasting. They were letting you do everything and anything. So don't give us this bullshit about, the refs, this and that. You time wasted your little balls off. Just admit it. Just be honest. Like, yeah, this team, they got more firepower than us. We're in their backyard. We gotta waste some time. We gotta sit on a lead. That's understandable. Also shout out. This is unfortunate. This is not a good or a bad goa. It's sort of a sad goa for Falcons FC fans because a lot of them paid a lot of money to go watch Messi this week. And unfortunately, it did not work out because Messi was coming back from international break. I do think it was load management more than, the turf, but I guess we'll see. I did see a quote from Messi saying that like he would play on turf, but I think this was a load management thing, and it just stinks for fans. You get excited, you pay a lot of money to go watch the guy play, and he doesn't show up. Ricardo Pepi. So Ricardo Pepi and Chucky Lozano are, out there on PSV together, teammates. And somebody won a penalty, and Chucky Lozano came over and was like, yeah, I'll take that penalty. And Ricardo Pepi sauntered over with his big old balls, and bitch smacked Chucky Lozano about upside his head with those balls, took the ball, and put the penalty in the net. And that's just what strikers do. And it was real unfortunate for Chucky that America just keeps just hanging those L's. It stinks. But shout out to Ricardo Pepi for that one. And by the way, he was the assigned penalty taker, so I don't really know what Chucky was thinking on that one. Also, last one for honorable mentions, Las Palmas. So 15 players apparently missed their flight to, I don't know, they were going Sevilla or something because they were going to get a coffee, and then they got lost in the airport, which is just, I don't know. That's you didn't hold the plane for 15 players. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. But here, the actual Goa, and this is 1 week after I gave last week's Goa to Sammy Vines for, just working his ass off, coming back from a broken leg, earning his spot back on the starting lineup for Royal Antwerp, helping them get to the Champions League group stage. And then like 2 days later, news comes out that, whoever the HR Dingleberry who does their, whatever, their logistical order, the roster for Champions League, some numbskull left him off the roster. So now Sammy Vines cannot play in the Champions League group stage after all he's been through and all this sort of hard work and heartbreak and all that. And he's just getting back to, the top of his game. This is like, hopefully not a once in a lifetime opportunity. Hopefully they'll be back next year, but just for some dumbass in, the back room to somehow leave him off a roster. And now he can't play in the Champions League. I mean, that is just mind boggling. And I talked to him on DMs, and he was just obviously heartbroken, but he seemed like he was taking it in stride and he understands the situation. And it just stinks though. Like, seems like the nicest guy, and he's worked his ass off to get back, and just some backroom dumbass leaves him off the roster. So that person absolutely earns a go of this week. Think about your life, do better next time. And that's all we got, boys and girls. Dalton, thank you as always. Mikey, same. I'm glad you became one with nature and Zion. And that's all we got, except we're not done. Time to throw it to a fun chat with Tommy McGunner and Elon Milaski of Orange County SC. Here we go.